the overall benefits of texting in our business is obviously to communicate, right? Like that's a no-brainer. We want to communicate with our customers so that they can have the best experience possible with our company. The other part is documentation. So I know a lot of us, once people go with Been There, Done That, they often stay with us, right? And so how cool is it that you can literally have a rolling conversation, and you can see everything that was said between that person, so that you can, maybe they texted and said that like, oh my gosh, like, can I have the bin for an extra day because I just had a grandbaby? And, so then you can ask them how their grandbaby is doing next time, so it's a really cool element to have that documentation. And then also on the other side, documenting things to CYA to make sure that that there's no he said, she said things. And so I know that those customers are hopefully the lesser of our customer base, but they do come in there sometimes. So and then the other thing is consistency. I run my dispatch team remotely. And so, making sure that my team is all communicating things consistently across the board, it can be difficult. And so when you have text in place, it's really cool because I can see messages pop through. I don't review everyone, but if I'm seeing text pop through, I can see how they're communicating things to our customers and either give them instant feedback or congratulate them on having a really awesome response or whatnot. So it really just gives that visibility to your whole dispatch team so that you can make sure that they are operating at the high standard that we require to be part of our teams. And now I'll kind of move toward, so those are like the major benefits of just texting in general that I have found. And then, with text requests, like I mentioned, the overhead, right? Like really maximizing efficiency. So the things that we do on a daily basis, that really help us with that are we use texting or text requests for getting placement instructions. So that really has eliminated any obstacles that we're having as far as like customers saying you didn't put it in the right spot, or I need to be there, right? Like how many times do we have customers who say like, just like, I'll meet you there and show you where it's at. And then you show up and then they're not there. And then we call them and they're like, oh, just wait 15 minutes and we'll be there. And so it's like those types of issues, they might still happen. You might still have those people who want to be there, and that's okay, but we can still get those placement instructions because we can send pictures. We can pull up Google and put out a map and mark it up and draw a cute little dumpster and say, do you want it this way? And which way do you want your doors to face? And all of that, or explain to them why we can't have the doors face a certain direction, because the truck has to get out. So it's a really great educational tool for the placement instructions. Removal confirmation. So at our location, we definitely want to communicate, make sure that they're ready, check in with them. Oftentimes through this process, we will get people who are ready right when we text. So if we text 3 days out, they'll be like, hey, you can come get the bin today. And like, that's wonderful for our turnover rate, right? So that's super exciting. Or vice versa, they might text us without us even prompting because, it's so easy to do. Review requests is another huge one. And this one I'll go into more detail later, so I'm going to skim over it right now. But review requests, there's a way to track them as well. So then who's written a review for you and how many times you've asked them. Super cool. Obtaining terms.
Kayla, sorry to interrupt.
No.
I do have some questions about that, but you mentioned you're going to get into greater detail. So I'll just save that those questions for then. But I'm looking forward to you explaining how you do review requests, because from what I know, there's no other Google listing in our system that has more reviews than you, and I'm guessing text request is a big propeller of getting those reviews, right?
Yes, absolutely. And to me, it's not just the act of texting, it's the experience that the customers have. If you go look at my reviews on Google, which I'm really proud of, thanks for that shout out, I appreciate that. But if you look at those Googles, like communication is like the number one thing, like communication, education, like people are like really excited just to know the process and not have any unexpected charges or whatnot, or experience throughout their experience. So, but yes, we'll get into that more here, and hopefully during the Q&A, I can really dive into that and answer some people's questions about that. But obtaining terms and conditions. So, if we don't get them, we'll text them and say, hey, did you get the TC email? Can you go ahead and check that box for us? And sometimes people are like challenged a little bit on finding the email. And so we might just text them a picture and be like, here it is, like acknowledge it. And so we use it for that. We use it for sharing ETAs. Again, sometimes people want to know like when they'll be there. In Samsara, you can actually share a link and they can see the truck too. That's super cool. But that's super easy and not really time, we don't want to add things to our plate that's going to cause a bunch of time. So that's like a quick little text. Sending pictures of issues to customers. So again, how many times do we go out on a site and a blocked bin is there? And then you're like spending 10 minutes trying to figure out whose car is what. Like send them a picture and be like, hey, blue car blocking the bin. Do you know whose car this is? If not, I'm going to move on and, you'll be charged a fee and we'll be back tomorrow. Confirm with us that it's ready. Overloaded bin. Hey, this isn't safe to pick up. Please remove this stuff here and send us a picture when it's ready. Whatever that might be. It's like just sending as easy as sending a picture to our customers before we call them. I do usually call, especially if I think that it's going to be something that needs to have a conversation, but send the pictures with it. Sending referrals. So again, sometimes we get people who call in. Recycling's huge in Colorado. So if somebody says like, oh, I have appliances I need to get rid of. Okay, you can't put those in the bins, but let me text you 5 resources, 5 places that you can take those appliances or electronics or whatever it might be. So we have like a list of referrals that we send out via text. And that just adds value to our business because people love that. They love that we don't just say, nope, no appliances, see you later, right? We're like, hey, here's a solution. Don't put those in there. Follow up. So if somebody calls into the office and is saying like, oh, I need to talk to my husband, or we're not going to do the project till January, whatever it might be, you can pre-schedule things. I don't use that function to pre-schedule too far out because they might call in, but you can make notes to yourself to text these people on these dates and follow up with them. Offer them a fun incentive of booking of like, hey, like, if for your first dumpster, you can get 14 days, you can get $20 off, whatever it might be, whatever that hook is. So follow up via text. And again, there's a way that we can track that via tags in text request. Dumpster orders. I get a ton of orders via text message from previous customers. So they'll text us and be like, hey, like need the same dumpster, same spot, use the same card. Literally. Put the order in and that's it. It's like 10-4, look for your receipt, see you tomorrow, right? Super cool, takes no time. And you've got that order in. I've actually seen my dispatch team put in orders via text message while they're on the phone, like talking to somebody else. Like, I have a great team, but it's like, you really can just be so efficient with your time and getting these things in. Money requests. This is a feature that I don't use very frequently because the transaction rates are higher on text requests than they are like via email link or like processing it through bin tracker. But you can send them a link via text message and they can pay it, and they actually they control that. I don't know. I'm curious if that would protect us in chargebacks. I haven't looked at that, but something kind of curious because they're putting in the card and they're authorizing it each time via a code. And I can't remember what the transaction rates are on that, so I'd have to look at that more. But after our responses, so text requests just rolled out, which I'm super pumped to get going here, an autoresponder. So you can set it up. If somebody texts in at 7 o'clock and you're not on the phones, it'll say, thanks for texting. We'll be back in tomorrow morning and we'll get right in touch with you. But the other thing is that I know I can't be the only owner, but on the weekend, sometimes I'll see these messages pop through and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to call this person, or the answer connect message comes through. Like, I don't want to call this person right now because I'm doing something with my kids or whatever it is, but like I'll send them a text and say something like, hey, I got your message. Absolutely, we can get you a dumpster on Monday. I'll get this order put in later today or tomorrow or Monday morning, and we'll be in touch, right? And then that way that customer is not jumping to the next dumpster company looking for that dumpster, right? Like they're gonna know, like, oh yeah, they got me, they'll be in touch. So again, not something that every owner probably does that has good boundaries, but I know I do. But um,
Can, do you have the widget on your website? And tell me
yeah,
your experiences with that and how your team interacts with that.
yes, yes. And so, yes, so my last little section here was to kind of talk about some of the benefits and the offers that text requests have. And one of them is the online widget. So it's right on my website, and does it say text us? I think it says text us. But instead of opening up,
How can I help you today?
okay, okay.
Yeah, that's it. I'm looking
Yeah.
at it now. Yep.
And that just shoots straight to the text message to our line. And so then it's easy. So you're not worried about like managing a whole different chat box anywhere. Um,
Does your
yes, so
whole team jump in on those, or is it just you, or is it just one person dedicated to that? How do you do that?
awesome question. So I have two dispatchers. And so a really cool feature of text requests is that if I'm typing on that to respond to it, it'll actually pop up and say Kayla is responding. So that will tell my team that like, hey, Kayla's got this. I don't have to. There is a little bit of a lag. So you should have protocol. Like if you want to have one person who's like responsible for responding to the text messages during a certain period of time, that's actually what we do. We set it up as a lead, but then if that lead is on a call, then the other one pops in and manages them. Um, but yeah, you can absolutely see who's responding to that message. And the customer also knows who's responding because you can add a little tag. So like if I respond, it says like dash Kayla. If it's Amy, it's dash Amy. And so it's really cool for our customers to get to know everybody in our staff. And realize that we're like attacking this as a team, and like they can ask us all those questions. It doesn't have to just be one person like me. Because again, as an owner, I feel like sometimes people are like, let me talk to Kayla. And it's like, well, no, like Amy and Ashlyn are just as qualified as I am to have some of these conversations. Um,
Yeah, if I
so
could just jump in 1 second while we're on the widget, because
yeah,
we utilize the widget as well for the www like subdomain. So any of the www pages a user might be on, and they reach out to us through that widget. It's usually, I need a dumpster or some variation of that, which, our use case is going to be unique. It's kind of limited to this and one other use case I'll detail later. But this is a good opportunity for us to route these leads to our franchise locations. So we do actually use the autoresponder you mentioned, Kayla, because we just can't attend to it right away all the time. So we have an autoresponder saying, thanks for your interest. We mentioned that we might not be able to respond right away. Here's where you can find your nearest location. But when we can respond, I'm looking from a response today. They're in Marietta, Georgia. And our teammate here, Melissa, mentioned or gave the local or phone number for Kurt's location in Atlanta. We got a nice thank you and a nice little message. And actually, I could see that request actually come in to the website. So that's pretty cool as well.
yeah. And Luke, there was a couple questions in the chat. It does not cost anything to put this widget on the website, correct?
It does. Yeah. So
Oh,
it's a extra, correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, is it $20 a month to add that widget to your website?
Yeah, so if you go to textcross.com, you can check that after, or we can even go through it during Q&A. Our lowest plans, our basic plan, starting at $59 a month. That SMS chat widget is a $20 add-on per month on that basic plan, but included in the starter plan and above. So that's one of our lead generation tools. If you capture a widget, everyone's trying to drive traffic to their website. If you capture a lead through that widget, it can pay for the service in itself. So you automatically see that return. So if you're looking for a way to capture more leads, drive more traffic to your website, first of all, like you were talking about, Kayla, earlier, grow those reviews online by sending out a review link after. I know, Kayla, I believe you're doing it day of the dumpster pickup. You're going to include a link to leave that review. So the way to get found and chosen these days to boost that SEO is more reviews, frequency of reviews, quantity of reviews, quality of reviews.
Mm-hmm.
That impacts your placement on Google, once you're found and chosen, everything's all about speed these days. Everything's instant gratification. We've got everything on our phone at your fingertips. You have that accessibility and reach at your fingertips now. So you and your team can respond to these inquiries in live time, jump on that lead, capture it in your system, and then close the deal to create some revenue for you.